What kind of medium are you? Hi everyone, I'm Diana Palm, psychic medium and spiritual healer. In today's video, we're going to be talking about 4 different types of mediumship. Let's see where you fit into this scope of things. First, we have evidential mediumship. This is typically associated with spiritualism and the spiritualists. This would mean that you're very good at giving demonstration or doing platform work in front of large crowds. Many of you are familiar with this type of mediumship. That's kind of what public events are based upon, or some of the TV shows that you've seen with famous mediums. In this type of mediumship, the medium is connecting with the spirit world and specifically connecting with your loved one and interpreting signs and symbols or messages directly from your loved one. The more evidence that they can bring helps you to identify that they're actually connected to your loved one, and they usually round it off with a beautiful message of love. The second type of mediumship is referred to as a psychic medium who is highly intuitive and may connect you with spirit guides, angels, and ancestors. So when you go to a psychic medium for a one-on-one private session with them or a mediumship reading, you could expect to receive spiritual messages, guidance, and advice from your entire spiritual support team. Now, every medium is different. Some can tune in with the spirit world more directly, and sometimes it's not up to the medium at all. It really depends on who shows up for that specific client. The general population doesn't understand that you can't make demands of the spirit world, but the medium's role is to make sure that their energy is clear, their vibration is lifted, and their connection is clean. That way they can actually convey any messages that show up for you that are relevant for the sitter or the client. This type of psychic medium will provide you with any kind of messages that you need spiritually to heal, and likely be able to give you some evidence that your loved one is there as well. The sitter or the client will always know this to be accurate because they'll feel it in their heart. They'll feel certain connections to things that you say. Sometimes the sitter or client can have absolute amnesia during a mediumship reading and later go home and recall things, and they will find that the specific information they were given was totally accurate. They just couldn't remember it at the time of the reading. So that's kind of a strange phenomena that happens when you're put on the spot and when you're in the middle of moving all that spiritual energy around and receiving messages. So if you've had a mediumship reading that didn't make sense, give it some time. Write it down and give it some time. It's also possible that your specific messages that you got were meant for you to share with somebody else very close to you that needed to hear those specific things. So we often actually act as mediums to one another, and spirit is organizing the whole thing. Now, the third type of medium is what's known as a rescue medium. This is kind of my lane. This is something that I have been very passionate about my entire life. A rescue medium kind of combines evidential mediumship with psychic mediumship, but also with spiritual healing abilities. My particular passion is finding lost souls, finding the ones that have not gone to the light, which is otherwise known as an earthbound spirit or ghost. Now, I love to find those ones because they can't get to the light on their own, and there needs to be rescue mediums who are willing to work with this energy and do soul retrievals. Many of these spirits are people who died in suicide, but they could also have stayed for many other reasons, and I have a video on that topic which I'll connect to this one. So a rescue medium will likely work in the paranormal world, which I did for 20 years. I would go in and clear haunted houses. I would get rid of the demons or attachments that people had, and I would also work with the bereaved to cross over their loved ones. I find that this is a fundamental step for the bereaved actually being able to heal their grief. When their loved one is not crossed over, they stay in a really raw state of grief. They're not able to heal or move forward until they sense intuitively that their loved one is also at peace. So I find that my gifts as a rescue medium work both with crossing over the dead and helping to heal the bereaved. That's what you can usually expect in working with a rescue medium. Now, the fourth type of medium is actually what I refer to as a spiritual warrior, and I train spiritual warriors. These are people